Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Welcome to You Can Talk live stream, the ABCs of communicating. I hope everyone is well this morning. I'm just going to turn my phone on here. All right. Let's see if I can. I think I'll set it up over here. Okay. How's everyone this morning? All right, good to see everyone. I'm Ruth Finney, for those of you who are new and or potentially could be new or be watching the replay. And this is Talk to Ruth, and I'm doing the ABCs of communicating. Sometimes when we struggle with our communication, we just have to work to try to learn how to communicate all over again. So I'm going to be going through the letters of the alphabet and just coming up with a topic related to each letter. And this morning we're on G. I do this on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 5 a.m. for approximately 30 minutes. And this morning's topic is gossip. Gossip, right? Who does not turn their ear to gossip? Even when we find that even when we don't want to listen, even when we don't want to, participate or hear in the gossip, we still have a tendency to turn our ear to it because it's just, so tempting sometimes to listen in, even when we know it may not be the right thing to do. Okay. It's become so much a part of our everyday lives. People have built their empires, their jobs, their businesses around gossip. We don't even see it, but we don't see it as gossip anymore. Now we just see it as normal conversation, right? We don't even think anything twice about it. It's just normal conversation for us. So, like I said, we'll come up with like cute little names for it. We were like, come get this tea. I got the scoop. People will say, spill the beans, all these cute little sayings that we come up with around gossip. But at the end of the day, it's just gossip. Good morning. Good morning. Thanks. Yes, you made it. I'm so excited. I'm happy that you're here. I know 5 a.m. and I don't know what time it is where you are, but 5 a.m., 6 a.m., or it could be 4 or 3. I don't know. But yeah, it can be early for people, but I'm a morning person. So here I am, ready to go. I hope you have a wonderful day. I hope everyone has a wonderful day. And thank you all for watching, those of you who are watching. Let's see. So yes, we come up with all these cute little things. And gossip is basically giving details about something that may or may not be true, that we haven't confirmed to be true. It's 6. It's 6 where you are. Okay. You're glad they're early. Okay. Yeah. Well, welcome. I'm happy. But yeah, gossip is basically, anything that we talk about from someone else that may be true or may not be true. Now, for the most part, we know that gossip is wrong, right? Good morning, Mike. How you doing? Good to see you, Mike. Welcome in. Welcome to the ABCs of communicating. We're talking about gossip this morning, all that good juicy stuff. So welcome in. But the word talks about gossip, right? It talks about that we shouldn't gossip, especially in Leviticus chapter 19, verses 16. It says, where he tells us directly, do not go about spreading slander amongst your people. Do not go about spreading slander amongst your people. And it says, do not do anything that endangers your neighbor's life. But we don't think about gossip like that. We don't think about gossip endangering our lives, right? We think of it a lot of times innocently. And then he goes on in Ephesians 4:29, it says, let no unwholesome talk come out of your mouths, but only that which is helpful for building others up, according to their needs, that it may benefit those who listen. Right? Now, how often does gossip benefit? Hardly ever. hardly ever does gossip benefit. But even though, like I say, we know these things, we still partake in gossip. So we know that it's not something that we should be doing, but we still do it. So why? Let's talk about some of the reasons why. Why do we do that? Because if we're honest, we partake in gossip a lot of times because sometimes it just makes us feel better to know that somebody else might be doing worse off than we are, that they're struggling with something that we're not having to struggle with or no longer having to struggle with. Sometimes we listen to gossip because it helps us to feel better that it sort of like levels the playing field. Sometimes it levels the playing field, especially if it's someone that we think is, doing better than us or has more than we do. It kind of makes us feel better sometimes to know that, okay, well, they got some stuff going on too, or I'm not the only one dealing with something. I'm not the only one struggling with something. And so, that's just kind of what we do. Like we say, okay, and makes people less invincible. It makes us feel that people are less invincible. But then there's the other side, right? There's the other side of it where it can get vicious. It can get vindictive. And that's when when we deliberately and intentionally, try to hurt people or try to ruin a person's reputation. We don't think about how gossip ruins a person's reputation. We don't think about how it can put their family at risk, how it could put their jobs at risk, their finances, all sorts of things. We don't think about that side of it. Or even think about how it can cause a person to take their lives. Yes, it says, what makes gossip gossip? What is the difference between gossip and revelation? Well, first of all, like the word says, gossip doesn't benefit anyone. If it's a revelation, I think that it enhances someone's life. It benefits someone's life. If it's gossip, it does nothing for the other person, that to me is what the difference is. If you think it's something different, let me know, how you see it. If you see it differently, let me know how you see it. But I think that gossip is something that, pretty much takes away from the other person and doesn't do anything for the person who's listening. Good morning, Harrison. How are you this morning? Good morning. So yeah, that's what I think the difference is. But like I say, if you think it's something different, let me know. I'm curious as to how you see it. Okay. We work sometimes, we're talking about gossip this morning, Harrison, just in case you hadn't been lit, if you're just coming in. So sometimes we intentionally make people feel less than. We want to hurt people. We want other people, how many times like we'll be talking to someone and they'll say, oh, there's somebody that walks by and maybe it's someone that they admire, someone that they think highly of. And then another person will come and say, oh, well, they have this going on, or, this happened to them. And that's how we intentionally sometimes try to ruin the reputation or the image of someone so that people don't think so highly of them. Right. So, and that's just another form of gossip. And gossip can also be when it's not always even just bad news. Sometimes it's good news. But if it's not our news to tell, then it's still gossip. Okay, it's still gossip. So we have to ask people sometimes, or think to ourselves. And when you're thinking about gossip, just think, if I tell this person this, is it going to benefit their life in any way? And I think that's a great way to sort of identify whether or not something is gossip or if it's revelation, as you put it. Thanks. So yeah, is it benefiting them in any way? So, and I think that's just kind of a good way to distinguish the difference between the two. So, but here's the other harmful thing about gossip that can be so damaging from a larger perspective. Let's see, is an example of gossip someone who discusses crimes the other party may be hiding? I don't necessarily think that's, well, I guess it depends on who you're discussing it with. I guess it depends on who you're discussing it with. So if you're just saying it to be saying it and you don't plan on doing anything about it, then it becomes gossip, or hearsay, rumors. But if you're expressing it to someone to say, to like say whistleblowing for a situation, then I think that it's not gossip. It's, we're being intentional and letting people know that, hey, there's something going on here we need to be paying attention to, we need to be mindful of, or we need to do something about. Then I don't think that that's gossip. So like I say, gossip is, I feel something that it's just something that you talk about that doesn't enhance, the person or the situation or anything like that. It's sort of useless. It's useless information. I like to think of gossip as being useless. It's not useful. It's not useful information. It's just useless information. It can be entertaining. It can be fun to listen to. It can be, interesting, but it's not doing anything for anyone. It's not doing anything for anyone. In fact, it typically causes more harm than good. It typically causes more harm than good. Okay, so, but gossip, if we think about gossip from a larger perspective, gossip is what can shape a person's perspective about life. It can shape a person's perspective about people. It can shape a child's perspective of how they see the world, or one particular race. It can shape their perspective of how they see another particular race. All these things sometimes that we have preconceived notions about is based on hearsay, is based on gossip, and not always things that we have experienced. And that's another sort of dangerous part of gossip. When we develop ideas or generalizations about people or businesses or situations based on what we heard about it, that's gossip. If we don't know those things to be true, if we have not confirmed those things to be true, or we've not experienced it, or like I say, know that it's factual, then it's gossip. It's gossip. So it's kind of like when you go up to, or you have an idea about a person and how people feel about church. Let's just use church. They'll say, well, I've never been to church, but I hear y'all are all, this way or that way, or y'all feel this way and that way about stuff, right? Maybe that's true. Maybe that's not, but yet people will develop their own thoughts and ideas about and claim it and think of it as being true based on what someone else said. Good morning, the positive pusher. How are you this morning? Welcome in. Good morning. So yeah, we're talking about gossip this morning, positive. So yeah, it can shape how we see the world. It can shape how we see the world. So and because I think about this, right? And I'm thinking about you, positive, thinking about that conversation you had in the car talk the other day. I'm happy you popped in. We hear people say all the time, like, I don't trust people, right? I don't let people into my space. I'm very careful or guarded, and not that we shouldn't be, but let's think about why that is. A lot of times we are guarded. A lot of times we are cautious and we are careful about who we let into our space, because most of the time of our mouths, it's been our mouths that have gotten us in trouble with people, that have caused us to distrust people, because they tell our business. They say things about us that may or may not be true. They cause harm. We cause harm with our mouths. And so it causes us to be guarded with people, to want to protect ourselves and be careful. Like, can I trust this person? I mean, I know myself, how many times I'll say something to a person and may tell one or two people, especially like if it's a new person in my life. If that gets around back to me, I know exactly who told it. I know exactly who told it. If I say something to one or two people, then, and it comes back and I hear it again or something like that, then I know. And then I say, okay, I know what I can and can't tell this person. I learn how to build, I learn how to set boundaries around people based on sometimes the little that I share with them. And so we do that. We test people with words. We test people with words and their actions, whether or not they're going to follow through with their words and the things that they say. So gossip is one of those things that causes us to have mistrust in a relationship. So we do it with our families, we do it with our friends, and coworkers. Someone says something to us, and maybe they don't always tell us, don't tell this to anybody, but they just hope that you wouldn't. But you go ahead and you share with this person because you trust that person. Well, they don't trust that person. They don't even know that person. So we have to be mindful in thinking, okay, is this something I should share? Maybe something I shouldn't share. Is it even my business to tell? We have to try to have that mindset. Let's see, is it gossip when you're speaking of yourself, or is it gossip when you share it with others? I think that's a good question. I had that thought last night. I think that it's only gossip when you share it with others. If you're talking about yourself and you're telling your own business, you're telling your own business. And I typically, and then too, I think I was questioning, is it gossip when, if one person shares it with a group of people, right? Let's say if one person shares it with a group of people, is it gossip if those people tell other people? I don't know. I don't know. If they've said it themselves and they've shared it with a group of people, and then you go tell someone else, is it gossip? Again, I think we just have to be in that mindset of, is this beneficial? Where is this beneficial if I share this information? Am I sharing it, and why am I sharing it? I think if we question why it is that we're sharing it, it may help us identify whether or not we should share it. That's what you're wondering too? Okay. Okay, good. I'm glad you think it's interesting. It was interesting to me too, because I think gossip is a fine line. It's a fine line. But again, I think if we sit down and think about, would a person be harmed by this? How might the person feel if they knew that we were sharing this information? Or how is this helping them? Or would they share it themselves? Is it information they would share themselves? So we have to try to be mindful. But the thing is to be conscious of it. I think if we can just get to a level of consciousness. Good morning, with the fruitful wife. How are you doing this morning? Good to see you. Good to see you. I'm happy you're here. So how do we work to stop gossip, right? So how do we work to stop gossip? I mean, gossip is going to go on. It's that we have built a culture around gossip, right? People are paying millions of dollars just to be the first to hear something, to get the scoop on something, to be able to spill the tea about something. So how do we work to stop it? Obviously, it's hard to do from a global perspective, but what can we do in our immediate, areas, our immediate spaces? At work, at home, maybe we can create an environment of no tolerance with gossip. I know businesses that have no tolerance to when it comes to gossip. They give a one shot thing, and then they will come to you directly and say, we hear that that you spoke about this is your last time to spread gossip. So we can develop a no tolerance type of environment when it comes to gossip. And then the other thing we can do is walk away. We can walk away when we start hearing gossip. We can hang up the phone when we start hearing gossip. We can change the subject when we start hearing gossip. I have very effectively seen people do this, and I've done it myself. People will start gossiping about something, and they'll just be, going down this line. They'll be, and then they'll change the subject and say, I've been meaning to ask you about this. So I don't mean to change, the subject or something. But I wanted to ask you about this, or I wanted to talk to you about this, and just veer the conversation off into a whole nother area. Yes, keep your mouth closed, period. And that's the thing, isn't that what we say? We say, if it's if we don't want it to get out, then don't share it. If we don't want people to know our business, then don't tell people our business. At the end of the day, if you feel like you have to tell someone, tell the Lord above. Talk to your cat, your animal, your dog, whatever you have. And or just say it out loud or write it down or whatever you need to do if you feel like it's something you have to get out, because sometimes that is the case. We do need to let things out. We need to free ourselves from some of the thoughts that go on in our mind. But be careful, just be mindful, ask for discernment when it comes to particular people that you might be interested in sharing something with, and be careful about it. So, and then challenge them. Don't be afraid to challenge people or correct them when they're doing something wrong. Just say, hey, are you talking about so-and-so? Do they know you're telling their business? Do you think they would want you to tell their business? Right? We get afraid to challenge people and say, I don't think they would appreciate you letting everyone know that they're dealing with something. Challenge people, put it back in their face, shut it down, and say, hey, what you're doing is not cool. So, and we don't respect that around here. So challenge people. Don't be afraid to point it out. Or sometimes, here's the other thing I like to do. People will come at you and they want to know because they saw someone talking to you and they want to know what they said. Like, oh, what did they say? I saw so-and-so talking to you. I was like, oh, are you worried about what they're saying? Why don't you go talk with them? Why don't you go ask them what's going on? Send them on, and then we'll find out how truly concerned they are. Because if they're really concerned, then they'll go to that person themselves and say, hey, are you okay? Rather than just wanting to get the information from you. They don't want to, because they don't want to be a part of it. They don't want to have to be held accountable. They don't want to have to pitch in and potentially help with the situation. They just want to know. They just want to know what's going on, right? So let people know, hey, if you're concerned, just pray for them, or go talk with them. And but it's not I'm not at liberty to share someone else's business, someone else's information. It's not mine to tell. So that's something that I do all the time, because especially at work, right? People always be like, oh, I saw so-and-so, what happened? What were they saying? It's very common to do that and say, oh yeah, there is some stuff going on, but if you're concerned about it, or you think that there's an issue, go talk to them. They'd be happy for someone to reach out to them and love on them and know that somebody cares about them and not just interested in knowing their business, right? So we can put it right back in their face, right back in front of them. All right. And then here's one of the last things I definitely want to talk about: social media. Forgive me. I'm new to social media. This is my first year on any social media platform, and YouTube is my first one. But what I've seen, from all my friends who are on social media, family members, my husband's on social media, people feel at liberty. People feel at liberty to tell other people's business on social media. And it blows my mind, the potential damaging effects, right? How many times has someone's passed, right? And the whole family doesn't even know yet, but yet the death has been announced on social media. What is that about? What is that about? It says, yes, I've told people, I know you trust me with this information. I know you won't say anything. However, I think you should keep this information between you and me, and let's not share it with anyone. Yeah, that's true. That's absolutely true. I always let people know. And sometimes I'll tell people who I give them permission to tell. Like, especially like my good friends, I'll say, hey, I don't mind you telling this to your spouse, but please don't, share it outside, because people and their spouses are one. Sometimes it's very difficult to ask people not to tell their spouse something. So I'll say, I don't mind you sharing this with this person or that person, but if you could, let's just kind of keep it in our inner circle, because I do have an inner circle. So yeah, you tell people who you give permission to, or ask them not to say anything at all if you feel that you don't want it out at all, but you need to tell someone. But everyone doesn't always remember to do that. When you're in the midst of your pain, when you're in the midst of your frustration or your anger or your upsetness, you forget. You just assume and pray that they won't tell everyone, because sometimes people come up to you and they catch you in the midst of while you're going through it. And so you just spill everything or say what it needs to be said without sometimes even thinking about who you're talking to, or realizing who you're giving second thought about who you're talking to, or reminding them or asking them please not to say anything. So we and when that happens, we hope that that God will protect us sometimes from those people who mean intentional harm. But if you forget and you remember the next day, go back and say, hey, I appreciate you being there for me yesterday. But I would appreciate it if you not share what I shared with you with other people or with this person until this happens. But yeah, getting back with social media, we have to be so careful with the things that we put out on social media. My friends know I don't even like pictures being put out on social media unless they ask me if it's okay. Do you mind if I share this picture on social media or share this event on social media? But we have that sort of understanding, and I don't put pictures of them. I ask people if I have a picture and and it's of somebody's child or someone else's, or just someone else. I said, do you mind if I put this on social media? Do you mind if I talk about this, on social media? I ask permission. So it's a good practice to ask permission. Is it okay if I share this with such and such or so on, or with the world, whatever it is? Oh, that positive says that happened to me. I found out a family member passed on Facebook. Yeah, it's the worst thing. It's the worst thing. I was very upset. You're scrolling through your timeline and boom, the information pops up. It's definitely catches you off guard. Absolutely. I hate pics on social media. Yeah. Yes, asking permission. Yes, for sure. And I let people know, my friends have, and when it first came out, my friends would tell on each other, right? They'd be like, "Ooh, such and such put a picture of you on social media," and I'm like, "What?" And so, but we have to let people know, because that's a boundary that I have. That's a boundary that I have, that I don't, put my kids on social media, or that I don't, post everything on social media. And so, but I have to let people know that that's a boundary, because they don't always know. They just think that it's acceptable because it's fine for them, because they post everything about their life on social media. So especially when it comes to personal, private information, and sometimes like I say, it can be good news. It can be good news. It can be wonderful things that we want to share with the world. But if they've not given us permission, but maybe they're the ones that want to share it. Maybe they're the ones that want to share that they're expecting, that they're getting married or they're engaged. And they shared it with you, and then boom, you go off and tell everyone, oh, such and such is having a baby. I'm so excited. Well, you just ruined it for them. We just ruined it for them. We don't have the opportunity to give them the opportunity to share it themselves. So really try to be mindful of asking people, is it okay if I share this? Or do you want to give this? Do you want to share this information yourself? And just ask, and just be mindful and think that this is not my information to share. When people share things with me, I try to say, this is not mine. It's not mine to share. So be careful because then it just becomes gossip. It just becomes gossip. Let's see. The positive picture. Many are using Facebook to inform people. My family has a group chat on our phones, and we have Zoom family meetings. Yeah, and that's if you all have established that. Good morning, Mama Joan. I'm so happy to see you. If you all have established that this is going to be the setting and the place that we come to talk about this and that, then that's fine. But gossip is when the people may not necessarily know that the information is being shared, and the information that's being shared is potentially harmful or not benefiting, anyone else in the group. But if you all have that established group where we come together, we talk about things, we're going to share what's going on with the family, yada, yada, yada. But even at that, you still sometimes want to ask them, or someone still may say, I'm not ready to share this with the family just yet. I know that we have this platform that we use to talk about it, but I'm not ready to share it just yet. I just wanted to tell you because I need to get it off my chest. So if you would, not let the family know just yet, or give me the opportunity to share it when I'm ready to share it, and respect their wishes, or ask them. Like I say, if they don't say it, we should be the initiators to ask, like, hey, is this something you want the family to know, or do you want me to keep it private? Is this something you want our friend circle to know, or do you want me to keep it private? Is this something you want do you care if everyone here in the office knows, or is this something you want to keep private? Right? So we can ask. It doesn't hurt for us to ask if we're not sure, if we don't know, and then let them decide, and we go from there. All right. So that's pretty much all I have about gossip this morning. I hope that this gave you some sort of insight, or just increased your level of awareness as to how we should handle gossip, go about dealing with gossip, how we can, put a stop to some of the gossip. We can, like I said, we can't stop the world from gossiping as it has become a culture, but we absolutely can do something within our own inner circles and within our own lives. Okay. I hope you all have a wonderful and beautiful morning. I'm so happy to see you all this morning. I see 7 people here watching. So I thank each and every one of you for being up and joining me and thinking about, hey, let me hear what Ruth has to say about gossip this morning. So, and please go tell everyone, that I've been gossiping this morning. So I appreciate you all being here, and you all have a beautiful day. I'm gonna get ready for my work day. I hope you all have a wonderful days, whether you're going to work or you're at home or whatever it is. I'm thankful for your time, and I appreciate you being here. So I'm going to go ahead and say a quick prayer for us, and then we'll be on our way. Okay. We're dealt. Let's see. I had to do that. God dealt with me big time with that. Yeah. I mean, I grew up in a culture where our family gossiped, like we called it the Walker Wire. My family's last name are Walkers, and we called it the Walker Wire. And yeah, if it got out, it was like wildfire, So I grew up in that. I grew up with that culture and thinking, but I had to learn that was not always acceptable, that's not acceptable. Outside of my family circle, it became a problem. It became a problem. So it can be difficult when we come up, depending on how we came up into our family lives, to how we feel about gossip. Like I say, we tend to think that it's a part of normal conversation, or we're just enlightening people. We think it's harmless, but we don't think about the potential harm that it can cause. And so and that's why we need to increase our level of awareness with it. Okay. All right. I'm going to go ahead and say a prayer. Father, we just come thanking you for this day. We thank you for a new morning, a new opportunity, new grace, new mercy that you've blessed us with, and the new opportunity to make good choices and to set things right, to change our ways, to turn a corner, to have a different outlook, a new perspective, Father, when it comes to gossip. Lord, we know that you've told us, you've given us specific instructions that if it's not helping someone, that we need to keep quiet. If it's not enlightening someone, but if it's not, benefiting someone, then we need to keep our mouths closed. Help us to be mindful, increase our awareness, help us to be conscious and ask people, not be afraid to ask, and not be afraid to shut it down when it's in front of our face. Father, you have called us to be the light, to be the peacemakers of this world. And Lord, give us the courage and the strength and the ability and the willingness to do so when we are faced with the things that the enemy tries to throw at us to destroy relationships, to destroy trust in relationships. Father, help us to be strong and put an end to it and stop it. Father, we have the courage, we have the power to make change and to create change. So help us to walk in that power each and every day. Bless each and every person on this live. Bless each and every person watching behind the curtains and those who will be watching the replay. And just help us to be the peacemakers. We love you. We thank you. And these things I ask in your son, Jesus' name. Amen. All right. You all have a beautiful, beautiful day. And I will be, let's see, tomorrow comes out. Good morning, Frank GTV. How you doing? We're headed out for the day, but I appreciate you being here and popping your head in. Tomorrow, we'll have a lesson coming out, and then I'll be back here on Friday morning. So I do these classes on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday morning at 5 a.m. And it'll be the letter H. And I'm not sure what the H is for Friday, but I'll definitely be putting a little announcement out. You all will see the little thumbnail for the H class coming out on Friday. And then on Saturday night, you all asked me to do open forum. So be getting your questions together or your topics of discussion together for Saturday night at 8:30. So, because we're going to do open forum on Saturday night, you all can just come and talk to me and we can chit chat about what's going on in your life. So I'm looking forward to that, seeing what you all have going on in your lives. Okay. All right. You all have a beautiful day. Y'all take care and be blessed and be the light. Bye-bye.